Hello, everyone. Welcome to another practice session. And today we'll be venturing into the realm of compassion. But first of all, we're just going to take a moment to get here, to arrive from whatever we've been doing, the busyness of our lives, and just bringing our body and mind together. Just really taking a moment to feel yourself sitting, whether you're sitting in a chair or sitting on a cushion. Okay, and so just a few words before we begin today. If you're here in person, you're welcome to put something in the chat. Say hello. I have had trouble reading or seeing the comments in the past weeks while I'm live, so I don't know if I will actually see it, but it can be seen afterwards. And yeah, just welcome to join in this way. And so, yes, this week I was talking about responding to the question about having grief and anxiety when we see so much suffering in the world, in our loved ones, in ourselves, and how we can be with this. So today the practice is going to center around very consciously touching into the suffering of the world and holding that wish in our hearts that we could all be free of all of the different ways that we get caught in struggle, in confusion, in feeling lost, separate, alone, hungry. There's just so many different ways that we suffer. And it seems so important that we both learn to connect through suffering, to be able to work with the fear, the grief, the anxiety that might come up, and to be able to stay steady for others when they're caught in suffering, and to keep our hearts open. With that, again, having to practice with whatever fear and anxiety might come up. So with this, this is one of the practices of the four immeasurables, and that we will be beginning with someone whom we know is suffering, and then I will be opening it up from there. And as we do this practice, I'd really like to encourage you to just really honor your own process, so that if anxiety, grief does come up at some moment, at some point, it's fine for you to let go of connecting with the suffering of others, come back to yourself, and really just let that be within awareness if you can. If it's too overwhelming, of course, you can turn to some other aspect of experience that will help you to stay present within the suffering that you're experiencing. Because by doing that, we then begin to see that this is, just another experience, that this is, coming about when the causes and conditions are ripe. And yet it's not this way forever, and it's not the totality of who we are. And we can really begin to sense that openness, that spaciousness that is beyond that which is being caught in pain in this moment. Okay, so we will begin. So finding your posture. letting your spine be loosely upright, and having a sense of relaxation and ease in your muscles. And for a few moments, just feel or know the experience of sitting, letting the mind and the body come together. And then reflecting on your motivation for practicing. Just seeing right here how this is based in our caring, our kindness, our compassion. And setting an aspiration that we do this practice to come to realize our true nature. And that we can do this not for ourselves alone, but to be able to help others, to be of benefit. And then, having set our motivation, simply rest in open awareness. All of the sense doors are open. You don't need to block any experience. Just let it all be as it is. It's a simple presence that is just here. Within all experiences. This awareness that knows is an aspect of our essential nature that all beings have. Along with with awareness, this love, the desire to be happy, compassion, the desire to be free of suffering, and wisdom, the capacity to see, to know our experience, to see things as they are. And although we all have this essential nature that is pure, we still in our lives do things that create suffering, that keep us from knowing true happiness. And bringing to mind someone whom we know is experiencing some level of suffering in their lives. It could be somebody that we're close to, a friend, a co-worker. And as we bring them to mind, we might have a visual image or felt sense of this person. And remembering that they are just like us. And in these midst of the conditions of their lives, they may be struggling, uneasy, due to the situation they find themselves in. And just sending the wish that they may be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. We touch into their pain and then let the natural response be there. May you be free from suffering and its causes. We can use this phrase as often as is helpful in helping us to connect. May you be free from suffering and its causes. Touching into the natural caring in the face of suffering. May you be free from suffering and its causes. Or it might be that there's a visual image that helps you to connect. It sends this wish that may be a balm to them. It helps the suffering to dissolve. May you be free from suffering and its causes. And then reflecting on how there are many people who probably suffer in this same way. The conditions may be somewhat unique, but it may be a particular kind of suffering, whether it's pain in the body, whether it's living with a sense of unsafety, fear, whether it's not being at home within oneself, whatever it is, realizing that this person is not alone in their suffering, that many others suffer in this same way. And as we connect with the pain, again, just sending this wish that's natural in the response to seeing suffering. May you be free of suffering and its causes. And just sending this wish, this warmth, care, kindness, in whatever way makes sense for you. If at any time you start to feel anxiety, distress, you could see if it's helpful to wish for yourself that you be free of all forms of suffering. And its causes. If this doesn't feel right, you can also just come back to awareness. Whether it's being aware of the physical sensations that you're experiencing, just a light awareness. awareness of the thoughts in the mind, the emotions that are present, and just seeing them as clouds in the sky. Looking to the awareness that knows this experience, that can accommodate anything. And is naturally non-judgmental. Or you could also use anything that is easy for you to be aware of. Sound, visual objects. It's the simple presence with something that is not charged. And then when you feel to, you can once again connect with these beings in suffering and the wish that they could be free of distress, uneasiness, discomfort. And then opening up this field of compassion to all beings everywhere. Just reflecting on how we all want to be free of distress, free of pain, anxiety, uneasiness, fear. And yet so often lived in challenging circumstances. Just holding the wish in our hearts that all beings everywhere may be free from suffering and its causes. Or maybe it's a sense of just radiating warmth, care, kindness to all beings who are caught in suffering. However big or small that suffering may be. Whether they're people we're close to, even those we dislike. connecting into the suffering they might experience, and wishing that they could be free of the distress, discomfort, uneasiness. As they're like all of us. You get caught in confusion. If we find that it feels too vast, too open, you can pick groups of people who have different forms of suffering. Just feeling that natural movement to want to alleviate distress when we touch it, see it, and letting that come forth in the wish that all beings everywhere may be free from all kinds of suffering. And letting go of any focus and rest in the open ease of awareness. Or if any emotions have been stirred up, we can use these emotions as a support. And then taking a moment to dedicate any benefit that's come from our practice, to be joined with all of the wholesome energy of the three times, the past, the present, and the future. And for this to ripple out and be of benefit to all beings everywhere. And then, as we conclude, if your eyes have been closed, just opening your eyes, coming back into the room, awareness of what's around you. Taking a moment to appreciate that you've had this courageous heart that as best it could turned towards the suffering in ourselves, in our loved ones, in the world, with the aspiration to be able to help alleviate that suffering. Just noticing how it is for you right now. It may be that it stirred up emotions, and this is fine. This is what we need to be able to be with in order to be fully present in our lives. And if that's too much, we look to what we can be with. It's really tenderizes our hearts, and yet at the same time, it helps us to be able to be steady in the face of suffering. And this is just so important for all of us, and not to learn how to not be broken by it, to be caught in despair, but to be able to find this quality within us that is naturally there. I love how Mingyur Rinpoche always says it's as natural as our own heartbeat. But because of our habits, the way we react or respond, we just don't often see it. And so this is just one way of really getting in touch with this quality that is there within us. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for your practice. And please do feel free to share comments about how the practice goes for you. And yes, thank you.